This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Alan, how are you doing today?
I'm very good, thanks, Mark, and congratulations on that great broadcast yesterday from the OTC markets, where golden metal rang the bell, literally, metaphorically and literally.
Indeed, Guardian Metals. We do have to try and remember the name.
Guardian Metals. Yeah.
But yes, I don't think I messed up when we were talking yesterday. I think I always said Guardian Metals. Yes, but yes, it will take a while for us to get out of that habit, I think. But yeah, we're getting there. But yeah, that was great. That was brilliant. First time Stock Box in New York. Basically, I have been myself before. Once on a family holiday. But I think it's going back to 2008, so nearly quite a while ago. But yeah, it was great to be there again. Great to be in the city, and yeah, the OTC market. So I was sort of joking that Stockbox has done an IPO, bell ringing in London at the LSE. Now we've done the OTC, so the next stop's got to be sort of NASDAQ, and then the next one's got to be the Wall Street balcony. I think that's probably the pinnacle. But yeah, that might be a bit of a pipe dream. But yeah, it's cool to do these openings. I think it's it's quite exciting, and it's great for Oliver to be there and do that. He was really pleased to have us there. Really pleased to be marking that occasion. And for anyone who saw that interview, you can clearly see that they really want to start pushing the story to US investors, and the OTC is obviously the conduit to that as well, to get to access the stock in Guardian for the US. So yeah, Oliver's still there and he's working away. But yeah, great. I mean, you tuned in, didn't you, Alan? I thought it was it was good, and good to talk to the OTC guys as well, get more of an understanding of what they're all about and how dual listings work for UK companies. And it was really good to hear that there's a lot of interest from UK companies wanting to get that dual listing, but equally a lot of interest from US investors who want resource stocks in London that are sort of priced a bit lower than what they get at home.
Yeah, well, I think that's where the arbitrage effect comes in. You have a dual listing and a lot of interest from US investors, and I think for Guardian Metal, it's absolutely tailor-made for the US market, because it's a US-based stock. It's producing and mining, material tungsten, which is, of course, in demand from the US government. The US government are going to stop importing from China in a year or so, and so sourcing a domestic supply is of paramount importance. And I think Guardian are at that sweet spot right now, where, of course, they've developed Pilot Mountain, the tungsten resources there, but also there's so much more, as we've heard from the news flow from the company over the past few days. There's so much more to come. We've got this copper porphyry, of course, and I know you were talking to Oliver about that yesterday. But yeah, just to echo your thoughts on the OTC, the fellow from the OTC, I think he was really, he made a very good case for OTC and companies seeking to dual list. I mean, US investors, I think, we tend to be perhaps more cautious and pragmatic over here, but US investors, it's always a case of bottle half full, and I just love their bullish attitude. And you get those guys on board supporting your stock, becoming evangelists for the stock, then there's no stopping it. And of course, then you've got the next step from there, perhaps from OTC to NASDAQ or to a main market listing. All of that possibility opens up. But certainly for Oliver and the team, I think in terms of timing, they couldn't have timed it better, given the developments that we're seeing now at Pilot Mountain.
No, indeed. I mean, very well timed. Yeah, of course, with the developments, like you say, that discovery, and also, of course, the interest in the UK, certainly from investors, with the share price, ticking up and sort of settling in that sort of low 30 area. So yeah, I mean, they've done very well. And as he said in the interview, it's the exploration sort of continues, sort of continuous pipeline of exploration. It's all funded, and I think that's really good as well. It's not hopefully it's not sort of stop start as you often see with exploration companies where they do a bit of drilling, then stops. Then we have to wait for a bit for the results to come back. Then they wait for interpretation, and then they wait for the next step. There's hopefully a good pipeline of, as you said, continuous exploration and drilling to come from Guardian, as they prove what they've got. And as you said, that sort of bit about molybdenite and geochronological, I think it was, work that was going on. And how we explain that, really, that's about building that data room and having that extra bit of data that the majors want. So clearly, the team are thinking that this is very important to, if majors do come along and have a look, that they're already preparing to have this data room ready, which is fantastic. So I think that speaks a lot of confidence for what Oliver and the team know that they, pretty sure that they have there. Which I think is only a fantastic thing for the future, really, as they continue to work in this area. But yeah, I mean, we can talk about Guardian a little bit, remind investors what it's all about and what's coming. But yeah, it's going to be a good story, I think, developing.
Well, it is, yeah. Well, I think just to sort of give investors a quick reminder. Of course, Pilot Mountain really is the flagship project for the company. We've got that existing the existing sort of JORC resource estimate there. There's 12.5 million tons of tungsten. It's the largest undeveloped tungsten resource in the USA. But of course, through their analysis and work at the project, it's given up more and more secrets. So we found, of course, that the drilling results from Pilot Mountain, both hole 1 in the Desert Scheelite prospect and then hole 2 in Porphyry South, delivered mineralization in depth, metaphorically and literally. So the company, of course, reported in June this year that they'd noted mineralization from Desert Scheelite from 12 meters down to 42 or nearly 43 meters, and then from 65 meters down to 152 meters. Then Porphyry South, hole 2, the mineralized porphyry system ran solidly from 22 meters all the way down to 407 meters, which the team said at the time was a remarkable result. And of course, that's important in terms of adding value to Pilot Mountain, because the company's then taken those samples away, taken that data away, and engaged Dr. Lawrence Carter, who's a third-party specialist in porphyry copper deposits, but he's also yet an expert on the Yerrington Porphyry Copper District, which is adjacent to the Pilot Mountain region. And he submitted, and this was reported, of course, a few days ago, a detailed review, and the summary basically concluded that the porphyry system architecture at Pilot Mountain could be much larger than had been originally thought. New copper shows at surface were identified, of course. The drill core, the depth of the drill core, and the geochronological study that's now underway. But on the back of those findings from Dr. Carter, a further 16 new claims have been staked at Pilot Mountain to secure this new footprint of potential. And I noted in the interview yesterday, Mark, with Oliver, that you're asking about, how, or one of the questions asked by investors was how easy it is to stake claims. Are you worried that other people are going to come and stake claims? And of course, with the access the company has to the data room, if they see potential, they can get in and stake those claims beforehand. So this is why, of course, you get this speculative staking of claims. When you see a company working on a project and the license area adjacent to it is free, then be speculative and perhaps buy that claim. You never know what could happen. But certainly, Guardian Metal have secured these additional 16 claims, and further work is now underway to refine these drill targets based on that data. But with Dr. Carter, Lawrence Carter, appointed as a consultant, it's looking very exciting. But of course, that's just one dimension of this growing potential, or should I even say burgeoning potential that we're now seeing from Pilot Mountain. You mentioned Ghana yesterday, the industrial Ghana. Of course, this is something that has huge industrial potential, and as Oliver said, could be a significant contributor to revenue streams potentially from that project in the future. Of course, that composite sample has been taken off for metallurgical testing, and the results from that will be included in the PFS, and of course that is now ongoing, and the company will need to progress that. But the company can't talk about that now, of course, because that's work that is to come. But this is. I mentioned the stars aligning for the company. I mean, of course, we're now, the company is now listed on the OTC, and like you, Mark, we're also shareholders in Guardian too, so we're really excited to see to see what could come from this. But of course, on July the 11th, the US Senate Committee also published reports on the National Defense Authorization Act, and it was commented at that time, once the content of that report had been assessed, that of course Pilot Mountain could end up being a very significant or could play a significant part in the tungsten supply chain for the US. July 15th, just after that, 2 further strategic advisors appointed. R. Michael Jones appointed as strategic advisor, former chief executive of Platinum Group Metals, Los Andes Copper Company, and also advisor to the British Columbian Minister of Finance previously. And then Jeff Snyder has come in as operations manager to oversee the development of the Pilot Mountain. Jeff has got 40 years experience, veteran mining engineer. He's based in Nevada, worked for Centura Mining, McEwen Mining, and also Newmont. So, some of the biggest names in the industry there. So yeah, it's all poised, and I think, we're seeing, good activity and good growth in the share price. The company's currently got a market cap of 36.5 million, shares trading at 34p. Of course, seen fantastic growth year to date. But the share price action, as a chartist, if you're looking at the stock over the past 5 days, it's just a series of higher lows all the way through. So lots of support, lots of progress, and I think now the stock is being traded on the US. The arbitrage effect will kick in. We'll see lots of additional investors come in and support and drive the price out higher, which of course will drive the price higher in the UK as well. So a very, very bright future.
Yes, indeed, yeah. And as I said at the start, really looking forward to following that continuous pipeline of exploration that the team are working on. Looks like things are, Pilot Mountain's been around for quite a while, and it looks like finally the value of that, the potential of that, is actually starting to be recognised. So Oliver and the team crack on, continue with the drilling, build that story out there, and let's see where it goes. But I think it couldn't really be going any better at the moment for Oliver and the team. So keep up the good work is all I would say, really. Keep up the good work. But that's great. Well, thank you, Ellen. Yeah, and as I say, it was great to be out there for the OTC listing. Let's see the interest from the States hopefully come through. For this very sort of, you said, homegrown defense, very strategic project in the heart of America, in Nevada. Maybe we'll get out there one day, Maybe we can do a site visit to Pilot Mountain. I've seen the pictures of Oliver walking around, and it looks nice, doesn't it? I think it'd be a nice sort of day out, sort of walking up and down the terrain there. It'd be nice to go out and sort of see it. It's not far from there.
I think that's another thing that Oliver's done very well. He's used social media very well to get on the ground there, set the phone up on the tripod, and just talk through what he's finding on the ground there. And that's the thing, there are so many indications on the surface across the projects. Of course, we didn't mention the other projects that also add value. The Garfield project, 44 further mineral claims stated there in May this year. Then we had the we have the Golconda and the Stonewall projects too, and of course the Kibbe Basin lithium project. So all of these will be developed at some point too. And I remember interviewing Oliver myself, a year or so ago, and Oliver said, Golconda is one that's just going to creep up on us, and I think all of a sudden we're going to see there's going to be a whole load of value there. So Pilot Mountain is just blazing a trail in its own right. So probably the focus is on there at the moment. But there are four other projects there which are very valuable as well, and I think these are going to be developed, as we go forward. And who knows, perhaps Golconda or Garfield could turn into another Pilot Mountain. There's every possibility, and also, of course, they're all in very close geographical proximity too. So logistically, as a company operating these projects, you can operate very efficiently and at low cost because, of course, all your resources are in one place.
Yeah, exactly. Excellent. Well, thank you, Alan. But we do need to talk about some other stocks as well. So we're going to cover Ondo, InsurTech, and also GRX, that's GreenX. Which one do you want to take next?
Well, let's stick with mining and cover GreenX. So GreenX, we have, of course, spoken about the company before. Now, this is it's what I refer to as an asymmetric play because it was formerly Prairie Mining, and investors may remember this from a few years ago. The company owned some coal mines in Poland, and the Polish government basically took the mines back. So on the back of that, the company has been funded to sue the Polish government, and there was a tribunal back in November 2022, and negotiations are still going on. The company updated a few days ago, provided a quarterly update. It's claiming damages of up to 727 million, 737 million, and that is still proceeding. And we've seen a lot over the past few years where governments have perhaps acted not necessarily against the law, but they've acted in an immoral fashion or basically taken back property, and these claims are now being pursued through the international courts and tribunals, and certainly the GreenX Metals team are very confident that they will receive a payment back from this. And of course, the case has been funded. They have a big war chest to pay the lawyers and prosecute the case. The case is funded through a legal partner, and that legal partner also receives a large chunk of the claim as and when it's paid out. But the company are very confident with that. Their cash position, they have just over $7 million in the bank. They have no debt, and the company has three projects in its arsenal. So it owns the Arctic Rift Copper Project in Greenland. This is a high grade copper sulfide mineralization asset, and they've identified a native copper fissure at the Arctic Rift project at the Neergaard Dal prospect. And listeners may remember a couple of years ago, in fact, it might have been just a year ago, the company put some people on the ground there. They landed a ship with equipment there, and they drove these incredible space age vehicles manufactured by a company called Sherp out across the tundra. These are all-terrain vehicles with massive big balloon tires, and they just drove out. And what they were finding at the Neergaard Dal prospect was copper that you could literally chip out of the ground with an ice pick that was smelt already. So of course it's great, but you then got to process it and get it to market. So that's part of the challenge that companies with copper with projects out in that area face. The company has another project too, the Eleanor North project, and this is a project up in also in northern Greenland. So this is an intrusive gold project. They have there's a deep intrusion at a prospect called the Near Pluton, or the Noah Pluton, and the company has been through a process where it's agreed with the former vendors that it's going to buy out the project completely. It now owns 100% of that, and it's collaborating with the Geological Survey of Denmark and Greenland to fast track an updated geological map of the area. So we're going to get that data back soon, and based on that, the company will then make a decision whether or not to proceed. But as we speak today, Mark, the company's made another significant announcement. It's bought into another copper project. It's struck an earn-in agreement to own 90% of a private German company called Group 11 Exploration, GmbH. This company owns the Tannenberg copper project license in an area called Hesse in central Germany. It's just northeast of Frankfurt. So this license area includes the historic Richtelsdorf copper and silver mines. These are huge mines that closed back in the 1950s. The company or Group 11 already identified multiple drill targets over a 14-kilometer long dome area, which is copper and silver rich. Across that area, they've already identified with the drilling they've undertaken 2.1 meters at 2.7% copper, 48 grams per ton silver. That was at a depth of 365 meters. Then 1.5 meters at 3.7% copper, 33 grams per ton silver, down from 209 meters. That's in the southwestern area of the dome. In the northwestern area of the dome, they've identified 2 meters at 1.6% copper and 19 grams per ton silver. And this is the type of the type of geology here is it's called Kupferschiefer in German, which in English means sediment hosted copper, which is copper, which is fairly easy to mine. And Ben Stojkovic commented on the adding of the Tannenberg project to the exploration portfolio. These type of deposits are widely acknowledged as the most prolific source of modern day copper production. The largest source of domestic copper supply in Europe is currently the Polish Kupferschiefer deposits at present, and the company believes, from the work it's done and from the due diligence it's undertaken, that Tannenberg is a very similar project. It's got the potential to host high-grade copper deposits. Of course, being smack bang in the center of Germany, it could potentially become a hub to supply the German automotive industry and battery factories throughout. So Ben also stated that it's complementary to the company's Arctic Rift copper project. So as the court case is being settled, as the financial outcome is being debated and decided on, once that takes place, then of course the company has in its arsenal this arsenal of projects. So we have the two copper projects, Arctic Rift and Tannenberg, and of course the Eleanor North gold project. So lots more news to come from this company, I suspect, in the second half of the year.
Excellent. Good stuff. Thank you, Alan. So let's finish off with Ondo InsurTech. I know you interviewed Craig Foster this week as well for the first time. So you very much learning about the story there from him. I know we talked a bit about where the company has come out from, which is a really great story, isn't it, really? But yeah, give us your take on Ondo.
Well, it is, and of course we have spoken about Ondo on many occasions, and indeed, when I interviewed Craig yesterday, he sort of we discussed the coverage, and but I wanted to take him back and just kind of look at how it all started, because I think when you're looking to invest into a company or an asset, it's important to really understand where the company's come from and what the original vision was. And Craig, of course, was then working for HomeServe, and in the UK, anyone with a house in the UK will have had HomeServe bombarding them with direct mail advertising for HomeServe insurance products. That company, Craig was working in a department with a team of people, and of course that the company Home Serve itself was then subsequently bought out by Brookfield. I think that was a company, a Canadian-based company, and it gave them an opportunity because they could see the potential in this in the LeakBot product. And this was invented by a scientist called Sam Bailey, who is still with the team today, who came up with this really simple solution. And Craig and the team realized at the time that they've got an opportunity to become a world leader in claims prevention technology just with this one device. The company has, of course, it came to market, it RTO'd into Spinnaker Acquisitions, and it's set about building relationships and taking the story out to insurers around the world. It's had huge success, of course, in Sweden. 73% of the customer growth for the company up to the full year results that were announced a few weeks ago. 73% of the customer growth has come from Scandinavia, and the company is now up to the point where it has LeakBot in 111,000 homes, and is working with 18 insurance companies around the world. And of course, LeakBot is a simple IoT, Internet of Things device that tells you if you have a leak, so you can actually get on the case, sort the leak out, and this leaks in houses and water damage is costing insurance companies globally 16 billion pounds per year. It's a huge cost to the insurers, and in particular, last year was a pretty rough year for insurers. So the imperative is there for them to find a solution and resolve the issue, and try to cut costs. And of course, LeakBot is the perfect tool to do that. So Craig has been able to grow the business, but what was really telling, although they're of course seeing strong growth in Scandinavia, and of course they've tested throughout the UK, they're being run by Portsmouth Water, Southern Water, water companies and insurers around the UK. Cracking the US was really the key to putting them on the map. So they're now in in the US. They're working with nationwide insurers and other US insurance companies. They've just signed up a company with an insurance company in New Jersey to have LeakBot rolled out across the portfolio of clients. Currently, only 3% of the Ondo's customer base is from the US, but that 3% contributes 12% of the company's revenue. That's hugely significant. So you can see simply if growth in the US is given a big push and more companies take it on, then the opportunity is absolutely huge, because these insurance companies, with the premiums their clients are paying, these insurance companies can roll this out. They can basically give LeakBot out free of charge, include that in the cost, and then of course it continues to generate revenue for LeakBot. So it's a really strong solution for the business. So given this potential, Craig and the team are driving growth there, but also, of course, longer term, they've got to look at the bigger picture. How can they further grow the business strategically? How can they perhaps diversify? And in the US, there's also a similar device called Ting, which is used to detect house fires. Now, this has been rolled out into 800,000 odd households across the US, and it's now very much on the map with all the insurance companies, and the industry sees it very much as a benchmark product. So it has to be included. Now, in terms of growth, and the company's already had discussions with US insurers and other people in the industry over there. LeakBot is currently on a similar growth trajectory. So once it gets to currently sort of across several thousand households in the US, but once it gets to the point where it's in getting over 1 million households, LeakBot will have a similar profile, and then of course it can grow exponentially and the profitability from that, I think long term is pretty exciting. It's so the company is focused on marketing. It's just focusing on pushing this growth and developing the business. And of course, there are other potential areas the team can diversify into. But I think what really resonated with me is the fact that the original team that were working for HomeServe in that lab spun the business out. They're all still in place. The scientist who actually invented LeakBot, Sam Bailey, is still in place on the team. So that, to me, it's that successful formula that's built the business and grown the business to date, and that team stays together. Who knows what they can achieve? It's really exciting times. And of course, what we've seen with the share price is that we saw that original growth spurt where the share price went up to, I think, 30p. It's come back down from that, so it's consolidating now. We've seen this low 13p during July, but the shares have bounced higher on the results, and I think also on the news of that US insurer. So I think we're possibly at the start of that next growth curve now, and exciting times for the company.
Indeed. No, I do like Ondo InsurTech. I do like what the team and Craig are doing. And like you say, the good comparison is that Ting is the electrical arcs as it detects, I think, which leads to, cavity can lead to house fires. And yeah, this is effectively the same thing, but for water leaks. And it's been successful. And of course, I was up in Amsterdam at the ITC, the big insurance conference in Amsterdam just a few months ago. And they were there. Ondo were there with their one of their first customers, the Landesschafferungar from Sweden, who were endorsing them effectively at that conference in front of everyone else who was there. Which I thought was brilliant, because it's always tricky, I think, for listed companies to get sort of their clients or whatever who are not listed or who are perhaps even are listed, but they've got to be more careful with their regulatory announcements to sort of come out and sort of say things that are related. But yeah, they were quite happy to do that, and he actually said we're very happy to recommend LeakBot to other insurers. So I think it's great. It's clearly working. Landesschafferungar want to roll it out across the whole group. But yeah, as you said, cracking that US market is the big one, and they've started to get a bit of a foot in the door, and it seems like they're going to just continue to sort of wedge that a bit more and a bit more and a bit more, and yeah, probably one day the floodgates will open, and yeah, the entire US. Well, I'd like to say the entire US insurance market will take them out. I mean, why not? It's not completely crazy to say that, is it? I mean, they've got this device that reduces insurance water damage claims. Why would insurers not want it?
Yeah, that's it. You've got a market where water damage is costing insurance companies £16 billion per year, and last year was a particularly bad year. So the imperative is there more than it's greater than ever on the insurance companies to save money, and of course that it's a slam dunk. It's so well proven. And Craig said he can just walk into a room now and present the case and show the data, and the data is compelling. You can't. If you're running an insurance company and you need to save money, you can't not take this up. It's that simple. And I think when you look at what Ting have achieved already, there's no reason that within the year, say LeakBot could have doubled the number of households that's in the US, possibly more, and then you get to that point, that tipping point where the exponential growth starts to kick in, and it's just rolled out by everyone. Insurance companies recommend it to other insurers, and away you go. It's got the potential to be absolutely huge.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much, Alan, as always, of course, for your time. Always good to speak to you on Research Talks, and we can catch up again next week. I'll be in the UK for a couple of weeks, but we can speak on some more stocks next week.
Thanks, Mark. Have a great weekend.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.